Horse, Equus caballus, a hoofed herbivorous mammal of the family Equidae. It comprises a single species, Equus caballus, whose numerous varieties are called breeds. Before the advent of mechanized vehicles, the horse was widely used as a draft animal, and riding on horseback was one of the chief means of transportation. General features. In prehistoric times, the wild horse was probably first hunted for food. Research suggests that domestication had taken place by approximately 6,000 years ago. It is supposed that the horse was first used by a tribe of Indo-European origin that lived in the steppes north of the chain of mountains adjacent to the Black and Caspian Seas. Influenced by climate, food, and humans, the horse rapidly acquired its present form. The relationship of the horse to humans has been unique. The horse is a partner and friend. It has plowed fields and brought in the harvest, hauled goods and conveyed passengers, followed game and tracked cattle, and carried combatants into battle and adventurers to unknown lands. It has provided recreation in the form of justs, tournaments, carousels, and the sport of riding. The influence of the horse is expressed in the English language in such terms as chivalry and cavalier, which connote honor, respect, good manners, and straightforwardness. The horse is the proudest conquest of man, according to the French zoologist Georges-Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon. Its place was at its master's side in the graves of the Scythian kings or in the tombs of the pharaohs. Many early human cultures were centered on possession of the horse. Superstition read meaning into the colors of the horse, and a horse's head suspended near a grave or sanctuary or on the gables of a house conferred supernatural powers on the place. Greek mythology created the centaur, the most obvious symbol of the oneness of horse and rider. White stallions were the supreme sacrifice to the gods, and the Greek general Xenophon recorded that gods and heroes are depicted on well-trained horses. A beautiful and well-trained horse was, therefore, a status symbol in ancient Greece. Kings, generals, and statesmen, of necessity, had to be horsemen. The names of famous horses are inseparably linked to those of their famous riders. Bucephalus, the charger of Alexander the Great, Incitatus, once believed to have been made a senator by the Roman Emperor Caligula. See researchers note, Al Morzillo, Hernán Cortez's favorite horse, to whom the Indians erected a statue, Roan Barbary, the stallion of Richard II, mentioned by Shakespeare. Copenhagen, the Duke of Wellington's horse, which was buried with military honors. The horse has occupied a special place in the realm of art. From Stone Age drawings to the marvel of the Parthenon frieze, from Chinese Tang Dynasty tomb sculptures to Leonardo da Vinci's sketches and Andrea del Verrocchio's Caglioni, from the current to modern literature, the horse has inspired artists of all ages and in all parts of the world. The horse in life has served people in travels, wars, and labors, and in death has provided many commodities. Long before their domestication, horses were hunted for their flesh, and horse meat is still consumed by people in parts of Europe and in Iceland and is included in many pet foods. Horse bones and cartilage are used to make glue. Tetanus antitoxin is obtained from the blood serum of horses previously inoculated with tetanus toxoid. From horsehide a number of articles are manufactured, including fine shoes and belts. The Cordovan leather fabricated by the Moors in Córdoba, Spain, was originally made from horsehide. Fur coats are made of the sleek coats of foals. Horsehair has wide use in upholstery, mattresses, and stiff lining for coats and suits. High-quality horsehair, usually white, is employed for violin bows. Horse manure, which today provides the basis for cultivation of mushrooms, was used by the Scythians for fuel. Mare's milk was drunk by the Scythians, the Mongols, and the Arabs. Form and function. A mature male horse is called a stallion, the female a mare. A stallion used for breeding is known as a stud. A castrated stallion is commonly called a gelding. Formerly, stallions were employed as riding horses, while mares were kept for breeding purposes only. Geldings were used for work and as ladies riding horses. Recently, however, geldings generally have replaced stallions as riding horses. Young horses are known as foals, male foals are called colts and females fillies. Anatomical adaptations. The primitive horse probably stood 12 hands, about 120 centimeters, or 48 inches, one hand equals 10 centimeters, or 4 inches, tall at the withers, the high point on the back at the base of the neck, and was dun-colored, typically brownish to dark gray. Domestic horses gone wild, such as the Mustangs of western North America, tend to revert to those primitive features under random mating. They generally are somewhat taller, about 15 hands, 152.4 centimeters, or 60 inches, are usually gray, dun, or brownish in color, and move in herds led by a stallion. The horse's general form is characteristic of an animal of speed. The long leg bones pivot on pulley-like joints that restrict movement to the fore and aft. The limbs are levered to muscle masses in such a way as to provide the most efficient use of energy, and the compact body is supported permanently on the tips of the toes, allowing fuller extension of the limbs in running. The rounded skull houses a large and complex brain, well developed in those areas that direct muscle coordination. While the horse is intelligent among non-human animals, it is safe to say that the horse is more concerned with the functioning of its acute sensory reception and its musculature than with mental processes. Though much has been written about educated horses that appear to exhibit an ability to spell and count, it is generally agreed that in such cases a very perceptive animal is responding to cues from its human trainer. But this ability is remarkable enough in its own right, for the cues are often given unconsciously, and detection of such subtle signals requires extremely sharp perception. The horse, like other grazing herbivores, has typical adaptations for plant eating, a set of strong, high-crowned teeth, suited to grinding grasses and other harsh vegetation, and a relatively long digestive tract, most of which is intestine concerned with digesting cellulose matter from vegetation. Young horses have milk, or baby, teeth, which they begin to shed at about age 2.5. The permanent teeth, numbering 36 to 40, are completely developed by age 4 to 5 years. In the stallion these teeth are arranged as follows on the upper and lower jaws, 12 incisors that cut and pull at grasses. For canines, remnants without function in the modern horse and usually not found in mares, 12 premolars and 12 molars, high prisms that continue to grow out of the jaw in order to replace the surfaces worn off in grinding food. Under domestication, the horse has diversified into 3 major types, based on size and build: draft horses, heavy-limbed and up to 20 hands, 200 centimeters, or 80 inches, high, ponies, by convention horses under 14.2 hands, about 147 centimeters, or 58 inches, high, and light horses, the saddle or riding horses, which fall in the intermediate size range. Domestic horses tend to be nearsighted, less hardy than their ancestors, and often high-strung, especially thoroughbreds, where intensive breeding has been focused upon speed to the exclusion of other qualities. The stomach is relatively small, and, since much vegetation must be ingested to maintain vital processes, foraging is almost constant under natural conditions. Domestic animals are fed several, at least 3, times a day in quantities governed by the exertion of the horse. Senses. The extremely large eyes placed far back on the elongated head admirably suit the horse for its chief mode of defense, flight. Its long neck and high-set eyes, which register a much wider range than do the eyes of a human being, enable the horse to discern a possible threat even while eating low grasses. Like human vision, the horse's vision is binocular, but only in the narrow area directly forward. Evidence suggests that a horse's vision is limited in its ability to register color. Horses can detect yellow and blue but not red and green. While visual acuity is high, the eyes do not have variable focus, and objects at different distances register only on different areas of the retina, which requires tilting movements of the head. The senses of smell and hearing seem to be keener than in human beings. As the biologist George Gaylord Simpson put it in Horses, 1961, color and pattern from the dung of the primitive horse has sprung a variety of colors and patterns, some highly variable and difficult to distinguish. Among the most important colors are black, bay, chestnut, and sorrel, palomino, cream, and white.